if you look across the world's history, and you've got me thinking, Siddharth, but there are two inflection points that happen that change the stature of a country in the global comity of nations. The first is the rising of an economic superpower. So whether it was America 100 years ago, and by the way, what's the success of the American story, the economic story? The success of the American economic story is not hyper growth at 10% for 4 or 5 years and a blip. The success story of the US economic supremacy is growing at 3 to 4%, but compounding that growth over 100 years. And that compounding is the marvel that we need to focus on in our country. So for me, a 10% growth rate for 1 year doesn't excite me. But a 7.5% growth rate over a decade leads to transformation. And India has reached there. So the first is the emergence of an economic superpower across multiple fronts. India has always been, in its journey of 67 years, known for its prowess in either very few areas or maybe one vertical. And the latest to happen in my lifetime was the IT vertical. We were always known as a services power. 60% of our GDP also came from, close to 60% came from services. But we were always a services power, not a products power. And the value lies in product. For the first time, India is firing not double engine ki sarkar, but in this case, triple engine ki sarkar. We are firing on services. Our engine is firing on manufacturing. Our engine is firing on agriculture. So for the first time, India is moving both in terms of breadth and depth. And that is leading to us displacing the one country that thought they could rule over us, the United Kingdom. Today, they are in 6th place and we are in 5th place. And the Prime Minister has promised, third term, number 3 economic superpower in the world. We will displace Germany and Japan and become the number 3 economic superpower by 2028. That's on one front, which is the economic front. But to me, Siddharth, as important as the economic front is the soft power front. And it is for the first time in our history, and something that has been spearheaded by the Prime Minister himself, that India today has risen as a soft power in the world. Whether it is the power of yoga, the fact that you have World Yoga Day, and at the United Nations you have 300 countries sitting side by side with India, practicing yoga. Whether it is COVID, and for a country that would go begging for vaccines, whether it is BCG, smallpox or whatever, that country today is producing 2 COVID vaccines, and not only producing 2 COVID vaccines, vaccinating her population twice over, 220 crore vaccines. And not only that, but exporting vaccines, vaccine maitri, to 100 countries across the world. That is an exposition of soft power. The Ukraine-Russian conflict, Operation Ganga, where for the first time in the world's history, 23,000 students stuck in the middle of no man's land. And only one country in the world sends 90 sorties of civilian aircraft, 20 sorties of military aircraft to 5 countries on the border of Ukraine and pulls out all 23,000 citizens of her country and neighboring countries, whether it's Bangladesh, whether it's Nepal, even Pakistan, and brings them back safely to India and transports them back to their home country. So today, whether it is on the issue of health, whether it's in the issue of world conflict, India's voice does not only resonate, India is looked upon to find a solution. India is looked upon to deliver what could be a possible solution for not only the South or the global South, but for the world. And that rudiment paradigm has changed across the world for us as a nation.